You know, some stories don't make sense, but talk about an appropriate ending to an awful season for our Angels. The Angels, the Halos, the whatever you want to call them in 2024, get destroyed 8-0 in the final game of the season against the Texas Rangers. We'll talk about it. We'll recap the game. We'll recap the year. We'll look forward. And I'll also tell you all thank you on the final edition of the season of the Locked On Angels Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and hello, Postcast people, and welcome to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. It's the final edition of the season after the final game of this awful season. It's bittersweet, you know. I'm bummed. Not that the season is over. The end couldn't come fast enough, but it is the final time doing this postcast with you guys for the year. Of course, if you watch me on this channel, first off, if you don't know who I am, you picked a funny show to watch me. But if you don't know who I am, I'm Gavin Carlson, a former credentialed journalist in the Los Angeles area, and now a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Our team's the Angels, but like I was saying, if you watch me do the Locked On UCLA postcast, you'll still see me this year. If you watch me do the Locked On Rams postcast, you'll still see me this year. I just did a Rams postcast about an hour ago. I did the UCLA postcast yesterday. But this is the final Locked On Angels postcast of the season because, of course, the year is over. And what a fun ride it has been. We will get into it. I will end the show in the final segment with a final little thank you to everybody in here. A lot of the loyal viewers who have made this show fun every night, every day, even when the games were never fun. I mean, this team lost 99 games. So, the games were often not fun, but the shows always were. And I say it every time. I do this show because of you guys, not because of this team. So really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. We'll get into the real thank you at the end, but just had to say that right away. Before we jump into this loss where the Angels do fall 8-0 to the Rangers, I'll tell you why this game perfectly summarized the season. And I'm not doing it from the surface level, which is awful season, awful game. Yes, that's true. But I'm talking about the way this game went in terms of starting bad but not terrible and ending atrocious. That's quite fitting to summarizing the season. Also, the fact that I didn't watch the beginning of this game because I was doing the Rams show, kind of the same way I didn't watch or do the show for the beginning of the Angels season because the postcast started midway through the year. See, a lot of weird things that were symmetrical, similar between this game and the season as a whole. So I'll get into all of that as well. But before we do all that, thank you to everybody in here. And also thank you and shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is FanDuel. You can start, the MLB season is ending, but you can start the NFL season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, today we see Jack Kowalewicz start, and he was pretty darn good. Kowalewicz goes 7 innings, gives up 6 hits. He does give up 3 earned runs, but he was pretty good for most of this game, and things didn't really fall apart until the 7th inning. Now, was it a great game? No, of course not. The Angels didn't score any runs the entire game, so the offense was lifeless from start to finish. The Angels were down 1-0 in the 4th inning, so an early hole, right? You're not leading at any point. You're down somewhat early, and then things collapse at the end. 2 runs in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th. And why am I saying it like this? Because like I said, this couldn't summarize the season any better. I mean, think about how this season started. Not good, okay? But not terrible. Kind of like, because coming into the year, we were expecting this team to be 500, right? Something like that. maybe a little bit less, right? I mean, I was hoping for 500. I was expecting maybe 10, 15 games under 500. I was not expecting 36 games under 500, right? But based on how the season went at the beginning, it was not good, right? So it's similar to being down 1-0 in a game, but it's not over, right? There was a point when the Angels were like 5-7 games back in the division, right? So in the same way that the Angels the Angels today were down early in a hole, but not completely out of it, down 1-0. It's the exact same thing as how the season went. Down early, 10 games under 500, Trout out, Rendon never plays, Rengifo was getting hurt at the time, Taylor Ward was awful, right? At this point, Patrick Sandoval was playing, but was terrible. Reed Detmers was terrible and sent down. Chase Silseth out. The rotation's a mess. The bullpen at this point wasn't very good, other than Estevez, Luis Garcia a little bit, right? So many things about the season were kind of like being down 1-0 and not scoring a run, right? And then as the season went on, things went bad to ugly, to me declaring on one show that this team would lose 100 games. Then taking that back a little bit to the spot where, okay, there's no way this team's going to lose 100 games. And then this team loses multiple series in a row, kind of like giving up 2 runs in the 7th inning. They lose more series in a row after that, kind of like giving up 2 runs in the 8th inning in this one. And then still, it's looking like you're not going to lose 100 games. You get swept by the White Sox. I'm going to say that one more time. You get swept by the White Sox. And then you get swept by the Rangers right here. That, my friends, that's kind of like giving up 3 runs in the 9th when you're already down 5-0, right? So you can see why I'm saying today's game really went the same way that the season went. Not to mention the funny part that I already said, which is that I didn't start the Angels Postcast right away. I didn't start till June this season. First ever Locked On Angels Postcast. First time having post-game shows with the Locked On Network, all that. And it's the same thing in terms of this game. Like I said, I was doing the Rams show. I was watching the Rams game, of course. Then I was doing the Rams show. I didn't flip this one on until the 7th inning. And that's when things collapsed. Now, in terms of this season and the postcast, there was a point while I was, obviously I started the show late, but still, this team was kind of in the midst of something. The collapse didn't happen till kind of more than halfway into my tenure of doing the show. But still, how fitting. I missed the beginning of the season. I missed the beginning of today's game. And then the end, which I was very much intently into the end of the season, collapses just like I was watching the end of this game, and it collapsed. So it's kind of funny. I know maybe some parts are stretches. I don't know. I think it's pretty accurate that so many ways, both the game itself, my interaction with this game, my interaction with this team this year, so much similar. So many parallels, similarities between today, and all year. Not to mention, the biggest obvious part of them all, we lost 8-0 at home in front of fans, right? There's fans there watching this team, supporting this team that does not deserve to be supported, and we lose 8-0. We lose our final 6 games of the year. We don't even look like we're trying to give them something to watch, something to remember. At least the A's won a game or two before they're leaving their city. And at least the A's gave them a win or two. We lose 6 in a row. We give the White Sox 3 wins that might have prevented them from having the worst record of all time. It delayed it at least. So, yeah. Oh my word. I'm annoyed, obviously. We're going to get into the actual nitty-gritties of the game after this. We already talked about Kolanowitz very briefly, but we'll talk about what happened in innings 7, 8, and 9 in terms of giving up 7 runs in 3 straight innings. We'll get to that. We'll get to the offense looking awful. And then, like I said, I will give you my all. The people that are just here for the Angels, that only watch the Angels show, I'll give you my farewell. I'll tell all the Angels fans that have watched throughout the year, thank you. So we'll get to that as well after our first break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you once again by FanDuel. The NFL season, it's well underway now. So NFL fans, football fans in general, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. I just told this story on the Rams Postcast. I'll tell it again today. I've talked so much about my New York trip, right? But one part I didn't talk about, and I don't know why I didn't think about it until today, was during that trip, I used this promo. I bet $5 on a WNBA game, the New York Liberty game I was at, got $200 in bonus bets, bet all that on the Yankees, a combination of Soto, Judge, Garrett Cole was pitching, and just them to beat the Rays. All of that hit, and I made a decent amount of money. So do the same. Do the same if you haven't already. Get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You don't have to win the $5 bet. You just got to place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast, the final Locked On Angels Postcast of 2024, because the Angels conclude their season, their abysmal 99-loss season, with an abysmal 8-0 defeat to end this, whatever you want to call this year. I don't know. This disastrous campaign. We already talked a little bit about the ironic part of today's game and why it was very eerily similar, symmetrical, parallel, whatever you want to say, to the season. The slow but not atrocious start to this game, being down 1-0 for most of the game, pretty similar to the beginning of the season. And then the collapse, 7 runs in the final 3 innings, kind of similar to losing all the games we did the past 2 months, including the last 6 of the season, including getting swept by the White Sox, right? So we already gotten all that. We'll get more into what actually happened in this one. Like I said, Jack Kowanowicz did have a decent start, 7 innings pitched. He only gave up 1 run through the first 6 and was looking pretty darn good. And it was like, okay, we kind of ripped on Kowanowicz a little bit, saying right when this guy looks like he might be ready to take the reins and officially be a part of the rotation for 2025, what does he do? He has multiple rough starts in a row, gives up 3 runs in 6 innings against the Rangers, gives up 4 runs against the Twins. But since then, he settled down. 1 earned run in 5 hits in 7 innings against the White Sox. I get it, it's the White Sox, and then again against the White Sox. But how about 7 innings of shutout ball, just 3 hits? Today, okay, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, no home runs. He did have a hit by a pitch, he did have a walk, and he only had 1 strikeout. But kind of what you expect from Jack Kowanowicz. And the funny thing is, I have him here on MLB.com looking at him, and I see a headline from September 24th, and it says, Kohanowicz's outstanding start spoiled by Halos' late collapse. Because Kowanowicz, in that start, like I said, didn't give up a run, 7 shutout innings, and the Angels didn't win that game in the midst of their sweep with the White Sox. Today, he wasn't bad at all. He was pretty good. He is responsible for 2 runs in the 7th inning, and yet he didn't even sniff getting a win. So he finishes the year 2-6. The ERA is still sub-4 at 3.99. But look at that. A guy has a 3.99 ERA and he's 2-6. Meanwhile, Nathan Eovaldi has a 3.8 ERA, a little bit better. He's got 12 wins. He's 12-8. So that says about all you need to say. He gave up 1 run in the 4th inning, him being Jack Kowanowicz, thanks to just 2 hits, really. A double from Nathaniel Lowe on a hard fly ball to center field. 100 exit velo, 385 feet. Could have easily been a home run. It's not a home run. First pitch fastball right down the middle. Not good enough at all. Double, and then right away, the first pitch of the next at-bat is a sinker down and away. Not a terrible pitch, but in 2 pitches, you give up a double and a single, and it's 1-0 just like that. After Nathaniel Lowe's double, it was Jonah Heim with the RBI. But then, in Kowanowicz fashion, he responds. Immediately, first pitch again, throws another sinker, trusts it, and gets Leody Taveras to ground into a double play. Then, what does he do? He throws 6 straight sinkers to Travis Jankowski and gets a ground out. So He trusted the sinker. He threw it 7 straight times and gets a double play and a ground out. So you got to give him his credit. But other than the 4th inning, he was pretty good throughout this game. He gives up a leadoff single, but then 3 straight ground outs. Like I said, the sinker was working. Top of the 2nd, ground out, single, hit by pitch, some traffic. But then guess what? Strikeout, and take a guess what happened after that. Ground out. On what? A sinker, right? So he's consistent. He might not be elite, but he's consistent. You know what you're going to get with him. A guy's going to throw sinkers and force ground balls, and you'll see what happens from there. Top of the 3rd goes 1, 2, 3 with 3 ground outs. We already tried about the 4th and the 5th. A little bit different here. Through the air, line out, pop out, pop out. 6th, ground out, pop out, ground out. So at this point, he is settling in. At this point, he gave up 2 hits in the 4th. He gave up a single hit in the 2nd and a single hit in the 3rd. Or in the 1st, excuse me. So just 4 hits through 6 innings. Amazing, right? Amazing. And then in the 7th, things unfortunately don't go well, despite a leadoff ground out. He gives up a single to Leody Taveras on a great pitch, honestly. A sinker below the knees, what he was doing all game. That one was a good pitch. Taveras, I guess, was expecting it, hits it decently well, and hits a liner for a base hit. Then he steals second. Kowanowitz pitches around Jankowski with 4 sinkers, gets a horrible call on 2-0. It's a sinker in the zone, call the ball. At this point, it's 3-0. He throws another sinker, and it's just like that, 1st and 2nd. And then Dustin Harris, first pitch, take a guess what it was, a sinker. And yeah, it was ripped. Dustin Harris, a 2 RBI double, and just like that, it's 3-0. But even then, give Kowanowitz his credit. Despite an error from Jack Lopez, who he's supposed to be in this team because he can field, on a sinker for a ground ball, despite the error, he gets a pop out from Semien on a sinker, and then he gets Josh Smith to ground out on a sinker. So yes, all he does is throw sinkers, and it worked today, and it's worked at times. If you can develop some better secondary pitches, if you can maybe throw a little bit harder, or just, develop a strikeout pitch maybe, he can be a decent 5th or 4th guy in your rotation, maybe. But he's not there yet. But still, give Jack Kowanowitz his credit. Even though it is 3 runs and not 1 run, it was a good start. Now from there, the bullpen comes in and fails. Gio, I believe, Zuniga, he comes in for Kowanowitz, and it's rough going right away. Gives up a single to Wyatt Langford on a 2-2 fastball up and in. Not even a terrible hit or pitch. It was a pretty weak hit from Langford, but guy gets on. He steals second, and then Nathaniel Lowe comes up, already has a double that led to a run in this one, and he gets a sinker that's not at all where you want a sinker, up in the zone, inside, and Lowe crushes it. I mean, he didn't hit it very deep, but 106 exit velo, it was hit hard, 365 feet, and it's 5-0. Now, Zuniga from there does go 1, 2, 3, fly out, pop out, fly out, but then in the 9th, things get a whole lot worse, and it's Roansy Contreras, who has been up and down in this year. He's actually had some decent performances at times, but today, my word. Immediately, Dustin Harris, who, have yourself a day, already had a big 2 RBI double back in the 7th inning against Kowanowitz. He comes up against Roansy Contreras and immediately hits a leadoff homer. Frustrating. At this point, it's already 5-0. The game feels over. People are headed for their cars, ready to say goodbye to the year. But a 1-1 slider, caught too much of the zone, high enough, and Harris destroys it. Same thing, not really that deep, only 371 feet, but it's 6-0, and from there, it got worse. Ezekiel Duran singles, first pitch sinker, wild pitch gets him to second, then Semien gets walked on a 7-pitch at bat, and then Josh Smith comes up for the final blow of this awful 2024 season, a double with no outs to score Semien and Duran. And just like that, on the first pitch, a fastball right down the middle, it becomes 8-0. It wasn't over from there. There was a ground out. Then Fulmer comes in, intentional walk, fly out, wild pitch. But eventually he survives. And then, of course, the Angels get 2 guys on, maybe fool you in the 9th that they're going to come back. They weren't gonna. The only other thing that happened notably in this game was in the bottom of the 7th. At this point, the Angels fall, but just went from, the 6th inning, it's 1-0. They go into the 7th, suddenly it's 3-0, and then in the bottom of the 7th, suddenly down 3-0, Matt Dice doubles. And you're like, okay, maybe they can put some runs on the board. Campero grounds out, though, doesn't advance. dice. Then Cavadas flies out, doesn't advance dice. So instead of this guy being moved to third on either of those outs, which a competent team would do, he's still at second. So when Michael Stefanik singles on a line drive to left field, it's not enough to score Matt Dice. He's thrown out at home. It's called out. We challenge it. It's upheld, of course. How fitting is that with all the manager stuff? Why not have a challenge that isn't, successful? Fitting way to end the year there as well. But yeah, that was the only other notable thing in this game. When we come back from our last break, I'll quickly mention the Angels hitting box score, and then I'll give those thank yous that I promised before we wrap up this final season, the final Locked On Angels postcast of the season. I'll be right back after this break. Now, the final ad read of the Locked On Angels postcast season is Game Time. I love Game Time. If you don't know what Game Time is, it's an official authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. It makes buying and selling tickets for baseball games and also other sporting events, concerts, comedy, theater, so much more. It makes it all easier. And then somehow they made things even easier than it already was for Game Time. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And if you want to know what I mean with this, I'm literally going to a concert tonight with my girlfriend. We're going to the Greek Theater to see a singer, and I bought the tickets yesterday. So that already shows, once again, I've told all the stories about being in New York, buying tickets to the Liberty game on the subway on the way there, buying tickets to the Yankees game on the subway on the way there, buying tickets to a Chelsea game at Levi Stadium. By the way, my Chels are back, all right? All my other teams stink. The Rams lost today. The Angels are terrible. UCLA is terrible. But at least my Chels are back. You see it right there. But yeah, use Game Time for that as well. It was already easy. That was before Game Time Picks. Now with Game Time Picks, yesterday I opened the app, and I opened other apps because I was curious. Ticketmaster, way too many tickets to go through, to sort through. And there's tickets that are twice as expensive as the seats in the same row. Why are they even there? Obviously, no one's going to buy them. They're double the price they should be. StubHub, same thing. But Game Time with Game Time Picks, when it says it filters out the fluff, it does. It literally only shows you the good deals. So there was like 12 tickets there. I mean, listen to what I just said. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. When I opened up the app, I was in my car, in a parking lot, just waiting for somebody, in kind of a bit of a rush. And instead of having to go through thousands of tickets, like I just said, there was less than 20. I looked at the 20, decided which of these great deals, because they were all great deals, which one of those great deals I liked the best. I bought the tickets, bam, they're in my phone, I'm going tonight. So, boom. I mean, that's all you need to know how great Game Time is. So, there's other great features like the all-in pricing. You must toggle this feature, but if you do, there's no surprise fees at checkout. You get a view from your seat before you buy your ticket. There's the lowest price guarantee. There's the Game Time ticket coverage, and so much more. So, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Back here live one last time this season on the Locked On Angels postcast here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. We're going to get to our thank yous in a second, but real quick, I'll just recap what the Angels lineup did in their last ever game. How about 4 hits? How about the Rangers having 2 errors and us still not scoring a run? Wow. Taylor Ward goes 0 for 4, so he finishes his season hitting .246 with a sub 750 OPS. If he had a hit, it would have been over 750, but under 750 for him. We don't care about Jack Lopez and Wagaman and Pilar in terms of what their long-term stats are in this season, but Lopez 1 of 4 with a strikeout, Wagaman 1 of 4 with a strikeout, Pilar 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Boy, did his year collapse. He's got a 668 OPS. He's hitting .229. Brandon Drury, I'm glad he finished his last game of the year like this because it's fitting. 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts to cap off a year where he hits 169 with a 470 OPS. It doesn't get much worse than that. Matt Dice was not great this year, but he does go 1 for 3 with a walk today. He tried to score from second base. it didn't go well. He finishes the year 204, didn't get many opportunities. Logan O'Hoppe was taking his place, and for most of the season was good, but for the end of the season, looked like the end of this game. Absolute collapse. Campero goes 0 for 4, whatever, he didn't play much. Cavadas, who at this point you can say he's had enough at-bats to learn a lot about him. 0 for 4 with a strikeout, fitting. He finishes the year 183 with a 6.16 OPS. I know he didn't have that many at-bats, just 93 at-bats, but in 93 at-bats, he had 17 hits. 4 of them were home runs. He had 8 RBIs on 17 hits. But yeah, the guy doesn't do anything but occasionally hit a home run. He's still no good. Michael Stefanik, this one is a disappointing. He goes 1 for 2 today, but he finishes the year 218. There was a point in the season where he was hitting 300, where I was trying to say that people are sleeping on him, but he finishes the season with just 24 hits on 110 at-bats. He has just 8 RBIs, just 8 runs, doesn't hit a home run, doesn't steal a base, and was honestly an average fielder at best. So disappointing campaign for him as well. There was no pinch hitters. We didn't see Neto. We didn't see O'Hoppe. We didn't see Adele or Moniak or, any of those guys. Not that it really matters, but yeah, just brutal. You see me rubbing my eyes. I'm tired. And this game, this season, made me tired. But with all that being said, it's time to say thank you one last time. Most of the faces that I see every night are in here, which is awesome, specifically because I wasn't even sure I was going to do this show. Normally I schedule it, midway through the game. You guys are able to go on and get ready. Today, I didn't even know I was going to do it. I quickly just went live, and yet there's still a lot of the loyal faces here. Fudd Alex, shout out to you. I know you said you were in college. We go back and forth. Thank you for always being here. I appreciate this nice comment here. He always says, what up? And he says, didn't want to miss the last Angels postcast of 2024. I appreciate that, man. Angels win. Another guy, always in here, always spewing facts, by the way, about the Angels, whether it's a win or a loss, always spewing facts. And he says here, thanks, Gavin, for sticking with us through a disaster season. Of course, like I said, sticking with us, as in you guys, is exactly what I did. I didn't stick with this team. I gave up on this team a while ago, but I stuck with you guys, and I'm glad that you all appreciated it. Also, I'll give you your credit. Angels win has been saying fire on Washington for a while, and at this point, maybe you can't be too darn mad at them. 63-99, the way you end the season with 6 straight losses, Angels win might be right. Anthony Jimenez, another loyal guy, always in here. He says, what up all? Here for one last Angels postcast. Was hoping for at least one last win, but being an Angels fan, disappointed again. Absolutely. But Anthony Jimenez, another guy, always leaving comments. The comments are also a huge part. Like, it's one thing to see that there's people watching, but if you don't leave a comment, I don't know who is watching. If Anthony Jimenez or anyone else I mentioned didn't what's it called, comment, I wouldn't know you're here. So the comments, I appreciate them a lot. BC in here, always spewing his Dodger stuff. Only today, I'll give you a shout out for all of it. He says, go Dodgers. He says, Shohei, 54-58. He is a unicorn. Yes, he is. We all know it. And always that duck dab emoji from him as well. Angels win with a comment not related to the postcast specifically, but facts. He says, if Jack Hay is your starter, your team isn't very good, but he's probably better than Detmers and Canning. I think so. At least, Canning walks too many guys, gives up too many home runs. Doesn't do anything, right? Detmers, we'll see, but he's looking bad. At least Kohanowitz, he's young, so he can have a Ben Joyce type of thing where he adds a pitch or two and he becomes a lot better. But at least even at this young stage of his career, you know what you're getting. A guy who's going to throw a sinker, who's going to force ground balls, maybe give up some hard hits if people are ready for the sinker, but you know what you're going to get with him. Fudd Alex also says the players are for sure happy. The stress is over for them. Artie Moreno is happy because he gets some collective checks while not even thinking about this team. Screw him. Fudd Alex says, I love this postcast. I hope you keep going next year. As of now, that's the plan. One thing I will say, I haven't really talked about too much, but I will not be doing a postcast for the NBA this season. As some of you know, I recently started my job working with the LA Clippers, which I'm really excited about. I'm 2 weeks in. I am doing ticket sales and partnerships and stuff like that. It's been amazing. We're at the brand new arena, the Intuit Dome, the best basketball arena in the world. It's a dream come true to be able to work there. I'll be honest, during my interviews, I mentioned Locked On. I mentioned, it's sales. It's about talking to people, right? Convincing people. I mentioned this show. I mentioned you guys during my interviews saying, I host a show every single night where I'm talking to people, conveying my message, reaching an audience. So you guys played a role in me getting the job, believe it or not, and it's been a great job. I'm 2 weeks in. Also, I will just shamelessly say, if you're at all interested in Clippers tickets, if you're all interested in seeing the new building, because it is spectacular, let me know. Comment on my videos or something. DM me on Twitter. Let me know. I can hook you up. Not for free or anything, but I'm the guy to talk to if you're interested in tickets at all. But enough of that. Moral of the story is I will not be doing the NBA postcast because I am now working for an NBA team, and it's against league rules to work for a team and then go on public platforms and discuss the team. We're privy to information, not a ton, but like, for example, if I go to work and see James Harden in a boot, that's private information that should not be shared. And if I went and did the show that night, not that I would intentionally do it, but if I accidentally said, well, I saw James Harden in a boot, boom, I would be breaking NBA policy. So I can't do an NBA postcast for the Lakers or Clippers this season. So you won't see me every night like you were for baseball, but you'll still see me twice a week, every Saturday for UCLA, every Sunday for the Rams. And yes, the plan is still to do the Angels once the season starts up again, all the way whenever it does. So that is the plan. Fud Alex, I appreciate you for loving this postcast every single day, and I do too. Expect it to keep going next year. Angels win says the Rams lose, UCLA loses, Angels lose. Cure is Gavin. Yeah, I'm certainly bad luck. There's nothing else to say. I mean, obviously I followed these teams all my life, but this is the first year I'm doing the postcast, and the Angels have their worst season ever. Yeah. Worst season ever there. UCLA football probably going to have its worst season in a while. And then the Rams, they've had rough years a couple times recently with injuries and everything, but 1-3. I'm not saying I'm the problem, but I might be the problem. A couple more comments here. Anthony Jimenez says, hope to see you back in 2025, Gavin. I'll try to check in with your Rams and UCLA postcast and then again next season. Appreciate what you do with the postcast. Cheers. I appreciate it a lot. Anthony Jimenez. Yes, certainly join me, Rams and UCLA postcasts. And next season, the plan is to do the Angels for sure. BC asked me a good question. He says, UCLA basketball, we don't know. This is not up to me. This is up to the network, the whole network, not even just Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, the whole Locked On network, which manages, every single pro team account, plus many colleges. They are settled for sure on doing football. Obviously, I've been doing UCLA football. TBD on UCLA basketball. It's not up to me. It is up to the whole network for every college. So we'll see there. One thing I will say, and I've brought it up a few times, I do have my own YouTube channel, GAV. Look up GAV UCLA on YouTube, and it should pop up. It's about UCLA sports. I will be doing UCLA football stuff and UCLA basketball stuff on there for sure. So if there isn't a Locked On UCLA postcast, you can expect UCLA content on there. Of course, there's the Locked On UCLA podcast that Zach does. That's great as well. But yeah, check out my channel. We're trying to grow it. I wasn't able to do a video this week. I've been busy. Starting up a full-time job for the first time ever is a huge adjustment, but we'll be back this week with plenty of UCLA videos. I know the football team's already messed, but I got some fun stuff coming up. Shows, episodes. Also, I'm going to be doing some NCAA Football 25, the video game stuff as well. That's going to be fun. GAV, BC. I see you asking the question there. GAV. So if you look, it's a small channel right now. So if you look up GAV, it won't be the first one to pop up. But if you look up GAV UCLA, it should pop up. Or if you look up Gavin Carlson, it'll pop up. In fact, I'll go to YouTube right now and I'll hit GAV UCLA and see if it naturally pops up. I think it's going to regardless because I am subscribed. All right, so if you do, yeah, there you go. BC, he's got the link right there. So there you go, Gavin_Carlson. If you look that up, it will pop up. So yes, no matter, we'll see what happens with basketball postcast, but I will be doing stuff there regardless. Anthony says, Gavin, will you be at Clippers games? Oh, wow, you said you'll be there. You've got a ticket package with the Clippers. Maybe see you there. Well, there you go. I will absolutely be there. I'll be there every single game. It is my full-time job. I will be there. So yeah, come find me. I'll meet you. I'll be wearing, Clippers gear, obviously working for the team. And also, if you are interested in maybe upgrading that ticket package or something like that, I'm the guy. Hit me up. But love to see that you're a Clipper fan and that you are going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yes, let me know on Twitter, wherever. Let me know what section you'll be in, where to come find you. I'll be there every single night. We can meet you. That'll be awesome. Fun Alex says, will you do Angels videos like trades or news on your YouTube? We'll see. We'll see. For now, it's going to be UCLA because that's kind of, it's a lot of work to just do a YouTube channel as is. And I picked kind of a bad time to do it because it's right when I'm starting a full-time job and being the busiest I've ever been in my life post-college. So we're going to start with UCLA. We'll see if I get to the Angels. I will say, and I'm sure you're well aware, the Locked On Angels podcast with the Frisch Bros, the Super Halo Bros on this network, on their own channel, is easily the best daily Angels content you will get, and it's not even close. There's other ones that are okay. There's other ones that I'm not a fan of that I won't mention, including one that called me out. Let's just say there was another Angels post-game show that wasn't happy that I was doing mine, and he called me some mean things. He honestly said ridiculous stuff, and I don't really have much respect over there. But Locked On Angels podcast, easily the best daily podcast. Locked On Angels Postcast was the best place to be after the game, but that's the best place to be every day. We'll see if I do my own stuff, but expect it to be just UCLA probably for now. So for Alex, just keep supporting the Locked On Angels podcast with a D, not an S, and the Frisch Bros over there. Yes, BC, it depends on the estimated audience size for the UCLA basketball postcast. And he says he subscribed to my channel. So thanks a lot. But yeah, man, long episode because of all this. I kind of expected something like this, but not even this level. Just once again, proving how awesome you guys are. A few other guys I wasn't able to shout out because I didn't see them today. But Jeff, we know, all of you know, Jeff is in here every day for the most part. So shout out to Jeff. Shout out to Anaheim Angel. Shout out to a few others that were always in here making it a fun show every single night. But with all that being said, I'm not even going to mention the score of this game. I'm not even going to mention the record. We know the season was a disaster. We know today was a disaster. We know next year hopefully will be better, but who even knows? But not going to talk about any of that anymore. I'm just going to one last time say thank you so much. I got my hand on my heart. Thank you to all of you for making this a fun show every single night. It's kind of crazy. For UCLA and for the Rams, I do it once a week. This is like almost every night. It's a nightly occurrence that, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to eat dinner, and I'm going to do the Angels show. It was just a daily thing for me every day, right? And you guys were a part of my life every day. So shout out to you guys. Appreciate you all so much. Join me, UCLA Postcast, Rams Postcast. Join me on the Angels Postcast next season. Join me on my new YouTube channel, and we'll keep it all going. But regardless of if I never see you until next year, I appreciate you all so much. Fud Alex says we appreciate it. I appreciate y'all. All right, enough of the sentimental stuff, but take care, everybody. And as always, one last time, go Angels. Take care. Love you guys. Have a great summer without Angels baseball.